gentlemen are not allowed here.
And the gays and the theys, and that's it. Unless you want to force your cisgender boyfriends and husbands to listen and educate them, we're here for that too.
Yeah.
But this is a safe space only.
We're back, baby.
We're back. It feels good.
It feels so good.
I'm scared. I'm like, do we even know how to do this anymore?
No, we don't.
But we don't, and we never did.
No.
Actually, that's the secret.
True, right? Right? Oh my God, the amount of times we fudged up, I'm here for it, though.
We still don't know what we're doing, but we did do more research for these next couple episodes, so at least we know more than we did before.
So you can expect us to not just, like, talk and just stare at each other and all of that. Like, we're going to come with the search where we've got
the proof, we've got the timelines, we've got the receipts for my Real Housewives girlies.
Yes. So we're not shooting this shit anymore, girlfriends. We are here to educate, to enthrall, and to not cry, hopefully.
To enthrall. That's
just
right.
It out there.
Well, before we dive in, we do have to shoot the shit a little bit because it's been so long.
Yeah. Yes.
It's been so long. So how are you, girlfriend?
Oh my gosh.
Where you been? What you been doing?
Okay, biggest news ever, guys. I saw Aunt Debbie. So that's the biggest news I have to share.
Hi, Aunt Debbie.
I went to Delaware, and then Aunt Debbie and Uncle David, of course, came to my house. So we are obsessed with each other.
Yes.
It's to be expected, but she's an amazing lady. If you know, you know.
That was the only update we needed.
That was the only update. Personally, I am going back to school to get a master's degree in mental health counseling. Woo, woo, woo. We can get more into that, and I'm going to be giving you all of the knowledge that is instilled in me. So expect that on our podcast.
Caitlin is now going to be our in-house resident mental health correspondent.
Doctor, whatever.
Dr. Osborne. We can call her that.
I'm not going for a doctorate, but that's fine.
It's fine. Putting some respect on your name.
Let's see. Kids are good. Annie is 2.5, going on 14. She's having tantrums regularly.
Fun.
She is a boss, and I'm here for it. Alice is a dancing queen. She literally never stops dancing. She is the best little thing in the world. Pose eating.
Yeah. That's my child.
Good job.
This is licking the crumbs off of the coffee table.
Mom. Okay, yeah. Chad is hoarding on a bigger scale now. Like, I'm a little worried. So if you know him, I have talked about his hoarding tendencies, and I'm a little concerned about it. Now, though, it's becoming big things, okay? So this man's like, I need a new truck. This guy does need a new truck. What does he do? He goes out and buys this great new truck. He deserves it. Good for you. Still got the old one.
Of course he does.
Guess what? Our driveway has 2 spots in it. So we have to literally rent a spot to hold this old girl. Okay?
You're like, so what are we doing with this
I think we're spending more money in rent for the truck than it's worth. But that's past the point.
Totally
he also wants a new boat. He needs a new boat.
That's fair.
Guess what? He's going to have 2 boats now. He's not getting her in the new one, the old one.
We tried that before.
Have 2 of them. So
4th of July is about to be lit.
Yeah. I can't send help. I don't know. He needs help. So, yeah, that's me. What about you, girl?
I'm good. I still am only the proud mother to a fur child. But I feel like since we stopped recording over the summer, just like was focusing on my event business and doing weddings and a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's what I've been doing, and really excited to like dig back into all of this, but with like more of a focus, and like I feel like we both feel really like, I mean, maybe I shouldn't speak for both of us, but like feeling like really like aligned, and like there's a lot of purpose behind it, and yeah, so I'm excited.
Yes.
So speaking of which, what you can expect from season 2, we're going to be covering current news, stories, current events, specifically around the fight for reproductive justice, and also the other side fighting against that, but also like all of the intersecting topics that go along with that, like violence against women, education in the US, LGBTQ plus rights, because we want to also make sure that like trans women feel like they have a place in feminism and like we're not leaving anyone behind. Yeah, and all this stuff is so connected. So we're hoping to bring like relevant and trustworthy information, but also to make sure that like most importantly, we're focusing on joy and community, because it's not about right versus left and arguing and draining all of our mental health. We want to make sure that like we're pouring into our communities, whether that's here online, building a community, or in your town or with your families and friends. And yeah.
You said it, sister.
I think that's about the gist, right? So basically our new structure, hopefully if we can like reel in our tongues, we'll do faster episodes, like quick catch up, couple quick news stories, so we're not like overwhelmed with information, just like a quick little bit, and then you can move on with your day. But we'll also be sharing kind of in like the same way, so we're not overwhelmed, like one action step that like maybe we've taken this week or something that you can do, and we'll just focus on that one thing, so no one has to feel like they need to change their whole lives or be overwhelmed. And then Caitlin's also going to be sharing mental health moments.
Why not?
Because we got to take care of that.
Why not? I'm just going to be paraphrasing what I'm learning in my courses and giving it to you. And it might be about a variety of things. I'm taking a course in grief counseling, and I'm taking a course in addiction. So if either of those things are relevant, which actually they are for every single person, I will have something to share with you at the end of our episodes. Fun fact.
Yeah.
Something you could take into your own life.
Awesome. I'm so excited for that. Okay, news highlights, and I'm going to try to do it as freaking fast as I can. Obviously, this is basically what you may have missed in terms of reproductive rights news stories since Election Day. So there is kind of a lot to talk about. We're going to try to do it fast and just bang it out. And if we need to discuss these in more detail, we'll do a whole episode about it. Let's take a deep breath first.
Let's do some grounding work.
Everybody.
Everyone, breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. Here we go.
Okay, let's do it. All right. Georgia dismissed their entire maternal mortality committee after ProPublica obtained internal details of 2 deaths of women who were denied essential health care. So Georgia State Commissioner Kathleen Toomey dismissed all members of the state's maternal mortality committee after confidential information was leaked to ProPublica. That information was regarding the deaths of Amber Thurman and Candy Miller, whose deaths were deemed preventable by the mortality committee. They were the first reported cases of women who died without access to care restricted by the state abortion ban. Toomey claims that there won't be any delay in the committee, which I'm not sure how that's possible because it doesn't exist anymore. But other states have had massive delays after similar dismissals. Texas declared that its maternal mortality committee won't examine maternal deaths in 2022 and 2023, the first years after their near total abortion ban. At least 3 women have died since their first abortion ban went into effect in 2021. The Texas Maternal Mortality Committee, by design, and more recently now by law, doesn't review cases of death in which a woman died in the course of trying to get an abortion.
Okay. So they're not doing anything that they're saying they're supposed to be doing?
Yeah,
that's the goal of what they are.
These committees are there to examine why maternal mortality rates are so high in the United States and to make sure that we're like figuring out issues. And when the issue is very clear that abortion bans literally kill women, they don't want us to have that data.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, like, oh, just don't look at that. Look over here. Yeah. So basically, the abortion bans have restricted the ability of doctors and hospitals to even provide critical care to women experiencing miscarriages or other pregnancy complications, situations that normally would like trigger a review of the committee. But since they won't be reviewing any cases involving misoprostol, which is the abortion medication, which is also really commonly used to help move like a miscarriage. But the maternal mortality rate in Texas in 2021 was 37.7 deaths per 100,000 live births. It was an increase from 27.7 in 2020 and 17.2 in 2019. It's also super important to note that in the U.S., Black pregnant patients are 3 times more likely to die than white patients, which is according to data from the American Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology.
OB.
Yeah, OB-GYN. Help. But I don't think that it's something that we should ignore at all or just be like, it's not so bad here because why are so many pregnant women dying? Let's pause for a second and really let this sentence sink in.
Okay.
Homicides are the leading cause of death for pregnant and postpartum women. Social determinants of health, such as housing instability, food insecurity, and violence, contribute to maternal health disparities. And once again, Black patients are 3 times more likely to die than white patients. So all that tells me is that we should be taking all of these deaths super seriously. All right? Okay. Moving on.
You're doing great.
Thank you. Okay. It's super unlikely that it will get enough support to pass, but as of December 2024, South Carolina lawmakers have proposed a bill that would allow the death penalty for people who get abortions.
Cute.
So when Republican Representative Rob Harris of South Carolina first introduced the legislation in 2023, because yes, this is not the first time that this legislation has been introduced, the Senate Majority Leader said it had 0 chance of passing. But I think that's also another tactic that they use is like repeatedly putting these extreme bills in front of us so we become desensitized to seeing it and we're able to just be like, I'm too tired to pay attention anymore.
And like someone created a bill with that on it.
Right.
So enough people are thinking.
So basically how it would work would the bill wants to include the wording an unborn child at any stage of development when defining the word person in South Carolina's criminal code. They would also subject people who have abortions to the homicide laws of the state, which include the death penalty or 30 years to life in jail. It's also concerning because it's not clear how it would affect things like IVF, where the embryos could be considered, like, is that considered an unborn child? Like, that's something to think about. And it also doesn't include a single exception for how the law would apply to victims of rape or incest. Presumably, an unborn child would fall under the states allowing execution for people who commit homicide against a child 11 or younger. This one was introduced the same exact week that Republican leadership in Idaho was fighting for the right to deny women life-saving abortions in hospital emergency rooms, literally arguing about how many body parts the woman would have to lose before being forced to give her an abortion. Moving on. I told you, this shit is dark, but that's why we have to talk about it and just rip the Band-Aid off, and episodes after this will be shorter and just focused to like one horrible subject. Okay. A lawsuit was filed in Texas by Attorney General Ken Paxton, a first ever lawsuit of its kind challenging a shield law in a Democratic state. So basically, the lawsuit asserts that a New York doctor violated Texas law by providing abortion medication to a patient via a telemedicine appointment, which is how like the majority of people in anti-abortion states are able to receive the care that they need is through telemedicine and abortion medication being sent to them. Luckily, they aren't facing criminal charges, but they are coming for up to $250,000. So basically, that shield law in New York says that New York would not cooperate with another state's effort to prosecute, sue, or otherwise penalize a doctor for providing the pills as long as the doctor is complying with New York laws, which is great that those kind of laws exist.
Sure.
As other states move to attack those people who provide or obtain abortion care, New York is proud to be a safe haven for abortion access. New York Attorney General Letitia James said in a statement, "We will always protect our providers from unjust attempts to punish them for doing their job, and we will never cower in the face of intimidation or threats." Like, yes, girlfriend, say that shit with your whole chest. We love it. Anyways, but more recently, actually, I saw this news article pop up this morning as I was kind of just like looking through this outline. So more recently in Texas, kind of related to these lawsuits, they're starting to shift focus to male sex partners, husbands, boyfriends of women who have decided to end their pregnancies, which is dangerous because we know that like it's a tactic for control. But the partner-focused approach will shift to a more public phase next month when Texas's largest anti-abortion organization launches an advertising campaign on Facebook and X to reach the husbands, boyfriends, and sex partners of women who have had abortions in the state, with the goal of recruiting them to file lawsuits against those who assisted the women in ending their pregnancies. So they can't come for the women themselves, but they want to come for like doctors, people that give them money for the abortion medication or care, people that send them like a text with a location that they could go to or a link to a website or something. And
this is what Michelle Obama was speaking to in her speech about the fact that we already don't have enough OBGYNs and doctors in this field, and now they're going to be scared away.
Yes. And now
it's going to impact you.
It's also important to note that some of the men who have already started to file some of these legal actions have already been found to have a history of verbal and emotional abuse. So it's already happening. Okay. Just 2 more here. Okay. And then we've got like 2 quick related things. I know.
Mandy can't
so
help
hard.
herself.
It's been a long time. We have to do a quick catch up. Okay. I can't help myself. The shit is... I have been radicalized. I'm enraged, and now come along with me. Okay. Republican Senators Andy Biggs and Clay Higgins submitted Resolution 7 to Congress, which expresses its support for women nationwide to have access to comprehensive, convenient, compassionate, life-affirming, pro-life, high-quality health care, which basically saying that the health care centers, in quotations, that already exist in anti-abortion states that kind of act as though they are health centers, but really they are like shame centers and don't provide contraceptive or proper education, any of that. But they're saying that that should be the model for all healthcare nationwide, like federally. The resolution also states that healthcare for women should also address the needs of men, families, and communities, which, if you're reading between the lines, means requiring men's signature for women's healthcare, which might seem really crazy. It seems super outlandish because it is. It is a wild idea, but it's really not that far off. I mean, only in 1973, that was not that long ago, Roe versus Wade, that decision legalized abortion in the United States and protected a woman's right to choose an abortion without her husband's permission. Like a main part of Roe was the right to privacy with your doctor and for a woman to make her own choice. So we'll talk more about that, obviously, in the abortion episode. That one goes deep.
Manny needs some water.
I need some freaking water. I need like an SSRI. Like, please. Okay, deep breath.
I'm nervous.
Oh, no. That was the last one. So let's take a deep breath.
But one thing before you get to that, a lot of this I'm thinking like,
sorry,
we're talking about, and if you're listening to this, you're likely in New England. If you're not, yay, thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you.
But I think that a lot of the conversations I'm having with my friends are like, wow, I can't believe that's happening. At least it's not in Massachusetts. Like we are safe. We are protected.
Let's use that privilege also.
Let's start there. Like, of course, that's worth saying. Also, though, I don't know if we're realizing this. There's a huge push to take away state, democracy and make it federalized. So, just putting it out there, start listening to the verbiage that is coming from top leaders. Don't want to scare you.
Yeah.
But it is relevant.
That's the thing. Is like, we're not here to fearmonger. We're here to help you tune in, and like obviously we want to be doing it in like a fun and lighthearted way, and like sometimes there's just no fun or lighthearted way to say some of this stuff. Like it sucks, it's scary, but like I think, and we'll talk about this in the abortion episode or the reproductive rights episode coming up, but like people I think are waiting for this big national abortion ban, which they would never call it that.
Right.
It more so would be things like taking away state ballot,
yes,
like questions,
yeah,
which is already happening, like taking abortion off the ballot because it wins on the ballot every time, or reducing being able to send medication state by state, like that kind of stuff.
Right.
So like, yeah, we are very lucky to be here, but also we can't take anything for granted. No. Like, we must be alert.
Yep.
Must be alert.
Must be alert.
Okay. Last couple quick little related news, because like I said, I feel like feminism has had its shit in history, like leaving people of color out, leaving minorities out, leaving LGBTQ plus people out. And like, we want to be here for everyone. Yeah. Trans women have a place here. We will be fighting for people and their rights, even if it doesn't directly affect us, because it all affects us. Yep. So instead of focusing on the priorities of American families, like the cost of living or healthcare or like, gun violence,
not one conversation.
The U.S. really just went crazy with some other actions this week.
Oh.
One being the U.S. House advanced a bill that would prohibit transgender youth from participating on school sports teams as one of its first actions. This kind of blanket ban deprives kids of community, friendship, bodily autonomy, privacy being the biggest one. The bill would expose young people to harassment and discrimination, emboldening people to question the gender of kids who don't fit a narrow view of how they're supposed to dress or look. It could even expose children to invasive, inappropriate questions and examinations, which I know, like, I feel like it literally gives me heart palpitations to think about. I mean, we think about how many kids have already been subject to very vile things like this. I mean, remember like the US gymnast case with Nasser and all of this. Like, this would embolden other parents to bully kids if they, if it's a girl with like a super short haircut or if she doesn't look really girly, like they could literally be like, hey, drop trowel, a male coach to young children. Disgusting. Also, states that pass anti-gender laws aimed at minors saw suicide attempts by transgender and non-conforming teenagers increase as much as 72% in the following years, a new study by the Trevor Project says. So I know that like it seems to be a tough conversation for some reason because it's like so unfair, blah, blah, blah. But like, I think if you weigh the risks of like how few transgender girls there are competing in sports compared to like the widespread rates of suicide, like they're just kids.
Yep. And they're killing themselves.
Yeah. So like we should care about that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that because I think it's a complicated conversation, but I think for some reason that's one that like really sticks with people for whatever reason. Okay.
It does.
Anyways, let's skip action steps and we'll talk about that next time.
I like it.
Because we don't want to overwhelm. And I feel like I already overwhelmed everyone, including myself. So like take a break after this. You did your part.
Mandy is top student.
You listened. I came with notes.
I love this.
Came with receipts.
You're amazing.
I came with timelines.
You're amazing.
How about you give us a mental health moment? Help us. Help our brains, please.
So one little snippet from my substance abuse class this week.
Oh, yeah.
So there was 6 key components as to how you can kind of gain reality again, kind of like through your therapy. And one of them was to find purpose.
Yeah.
And that one just really resonated with me because I think that it is something that's I've kind of myself gotten lost in like the hustle of life of like go. Like I don't have freaking time to like make the photo album or to like
have a hobby
or find a cute outfit for the morning, like very small things. And so I just wanted to send out that reminder that find your purpose. It doesn't have to be this big thing. I think we find these like we have to do a hobby, we have to like do blah blah blah. Like no, like just find something small that you feel purpose in, and that is a key ingredient to a wonderful, beautiful life. So
I really love that,
remember
especially related to this stuff where it's like something that maybe helps you tune out a little bit too, or like get off of this like hamster wheel of negative information and get a coloring book.
Yeah.
Or like something
and do it for you.
Yes.
Not for someone else.
Yes.
And that's something that I'm working on myself.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, girl.
Go. So we'll end on that.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thanks, guys. Love you so much. So excited to be back.
Here we go.
Here we fucking go. Okay.